We now turn to a critical conversation, AI for the people. How can we ensure that this powerful technology meaningfully improves lives across health, education, and governance? To guide this discussion, I invite Dr. Jai Asundi to the stage, who will be taking the discussion forward. Joining him on this panel are Mr. Manish Srivastava, CTO, eGov Foundation, Mr. Jagadish Babu, COO, EkStep, Dr. Ramanand, Director, CPRG, Mr. Shekhar Sivasubramanian, CEO, Wadhwani AI, Dr. Sarayu Natarajan, Founder, Aapti Institute. Let's welcome the panel for what promises to be a rich and engaging discussion.
Wonderful. I think the stage has been set. The technologists have come and told us what they can do for all of us. And then obviously we've got a call from the aspect of citizens. Of course, the idea of inclusivity. I think each of you have done interesting things when it comes to working with citizens. And I think all of the conversations so far have been the supply side. I think it's now time we now start talking about the demand. What is the client feeling? We already had one conversation from government saying, you need to work with us. How do we work with us? So let's start with each of you. So Sarayu, I'll start with you since you're sitting next to me. Give us a brief on the kind of work that you're doing and what are the typical challenges you're facing with when people ask you the question is, how are you applying AI to what you're doing?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, okay. Thank you for that question. I run Aapti Institute, which is a think tank or a consultancy that works at the intersection of technology and society. And most of our work is focused on understanding how technology can be better applied or ways in which questions of inclusion, access, and governance may be thought about. So sometimes AI is a part of the problem, which is questions of inclusion or access or governance of AI arise. Sometimes it's part of the solution, which is that it might dramatically increase access to certain populations. It might dramatically increase efficiencies in service provision. So it's a bit of both for us. And so while there's no straight answer to how do we use AI in our work, what we try to do as an organization is take a critical standpoint in thinking about how AI can be used, and if it is being used, how it can be better used for citizens. So that's our work. And
so any examples that you can go in on the type of any examples that you can throw in?
Sure. So a lot of our work, like I said, has focused on understanding and deconstructing AI. So a lot of our research work focuses on questions of AI safety, bias in AI, the governance of AI. So the notion of responsibility, which we hear about very often, our work tries to understand how can AI be more responsible. Also, the question of who is responsible for making AI responsible. And in that sense, if it is the people at the front line making technology, how can you think about enhancing their capacities to build better AI? Another part of our work, actually, which does not come up in many discussions around AI, particularly around generative AI, actually focuses on the labor that is involved in making AI. So we think quite deeply about data annotation, data labeling, more broadly questions of skilling around the making of AI. A third category of our work focuses, particularly with the rise of generative AI, on some of the more downstream consequences, such as in the information ecosphere, misinformation, disinformation, etc. But all of this is to say that our interest is in understanding the making of AI, the constraints in India which define the making of AI and the utility of AI, and that's what we do. I hope that was adequate.
Wonderful. So I think the question now, Manish, I think as eGov, working again with government, I think more thinking about it from the perspective of citizens. Can you talk about some of the challenges that you face when you're trying to incorporate the same question? That is, how are you incorporating AI into what you're trying to do in the work that you're doing?
Thank you. So eGov Foundation is basically a not-for-profit. We've been around since 2003. Was set up by Nandan and Shrikant, who eventually went down and did Aadhaar. A lot of the work, the way we look at it is, of course, from a citizen-centric perspective, working with closely with the government, but also with markets and societal partners like Aapti and all, also to look at how do we, firstly, I think the most important form is, while yes, how do you apply tech? A lot of the work that we do is in improving access in public service delivery space. But I think the important thing is to not necessarily look at any technology. I think is not just AI. I think if you are looking at, first thing is how do you frame the problem? From whose perspective are you framing the problem? Are you looking at application of technology to a certain area, or are you looking at what are the problems that the citizen is facing? I think today we still have the roti kapda makan problem, and then bijli sadak pani, which is, I think, being expressed in various phases. And what is this nature of these problems? I think first understanding the problem from that perspective, and then looking at, in sense, some of these are not necessarily technology problems. I think a lot of the problems, like people are talking traffic issues and can technology solve traffic? A lot of these are also policy issues, institutional issues. I think you need to unbundle the problem and look at what can be applied where to solve the problem. Of course, technology, availability of technology helps you reimagine some of the problems. So what we do is typically look at the problem, given the availability of technology, how can you refine some of the problem statements? And then we work with the government to try to see, a lot of the other discussion was pilots. And India is a graveyard of pilots. Right? And so one of the things that we try to do is work with trusted government parties where there's a champion who's willing to drive a change, do one exemplar at scale. Right? And as part of doing the scale, we basically put out a open source solution. What are the policy changes that you needed to do? What are the programmatic things that you needed to do? And then make it available generally in an open knowledge so that others are able to replicate the whole thing. And that's essentially one of the ways we've been trying to drive change and how governments can actually leverage technology at scale to change basically public service delivery. And I think the same model is what we are trying also with AI. Of course, AI is far more complicated. It's still evolving. So it'll still take a little bit more time to adopt on the public service delivery. But the potential is huge in terms of improving access and some of these things. I'll leave it right now.
Thank you. Dr. Ramanand, I think the similar question to you, one is, of course, what is CPRG focusing on? And what are the aspects related to, citizens that you would be working on when it comes to AI or any? I think I think Manish has opened it up to all digital transformation in society.
Hello. So thank you, Jai, for giving the chance to explain about our work. So as Manish also told, in CPRG, basically we are public policy think tank. So we are more concerned about the citizen aspect and people's aspect. And we have founded one initiative that's called the Future of Society. Under that initiative, we're just trying to understand the various aspects of society and how AI, not only AI but other emerging technology is going to shape up the future of that part. So from that initiative, we have developed some data down initiative with the AI for India, where we were just trying to understand how normal citizen can volunteer some of that data set. So either government system or private organization can use those data sets. And when we were talking about volunteering, we were saying in India we don't have that kind of mechanism where ordinary citizen can volunteer some of the data sets. I will say, as I think Manish was saying, some of companies have approached him for to use cloud system. So in India, acquiring data is not illegal, but that not illegal also, because we don't have that kind of mechanism. How it will be used and what will be the implication of that data sets. So in Future of Society, currently we have just try to map some of the university system, how students are feeling about AI. when students, teacher, and some non-academic staff. We have surveyed them, and we were just trying to understand their idea, their experience about AI and other technological aspects. Similarly, we are also doing some of the research in field of in different industry sectors like hospitality, defense, health, and how respective industry, the professionals and stakeholders are responding to the challenges of AI, how they are using AI, and unka imagination kya hai. We are just trying to capture those imagination. And in the same manner, as I told, we are basically social organizations. So our idea to understand if they will use certain time in certain period, what will be the impact and what could be, maybe उनका behavior कुछ change होगा क्या नहीं होगा, whether अभी जैसा behave हो रहा है वैसा behave 5 साल बाद होगा कि नहीं होगा, and we are in more, into it. So ऐसे कुछ हम sector wise analysis कर रहे हैं, then we are also doing especially some education thing. So we are just trying to understand the educational aspect. जैसे मनीष सर ने एक इंटरेस्टिंग बात बताई, मनीष जी ने भी बोली, हमें ऐसा लग रहा है कि इट इज रेनिंग एंड हम लोग जाएंगे एंड वी विल उसको एक्सपीरियंस कर लेंगे. अगर ऐसा रहेगा तो इट विल नॉट वर्क एंड वी विल बिकम जस्ट वन ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट ऑफ दैट सिस्टम. हमें आई थिंक हमें उसको कैसे डायरेक्शन देना है, उसका क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव होगा, वो वाले पार्ट पर जितना जल्दी चले जाएंगे उतना ज्यादा अच्छा रहेगा. So we are just trying.
Wonderful. I think impact of AI on society is also an important thing, and how citizens will also react to that particular thing. Very informative. Now, Shekhar, I think Wadhwani AI has been sort of in the space for a little time now, and there's some very interesting solutions that I have seen coming out of that. Before we get to the solutions, can you just talk through some of the challenges that you face as you were developing the solution, so that we can be aware of some of those things before we get into the solutions?
Sure, thank you. As an institute, we are a not-for-profit. So our goals are centric on Bharat, which is the individuals who are not urbanized, and we have to deliver the solution to all over India. So some of the points that were spoken about earlier, I will not have enough time to describe each of this. So I'll just speak a few sentences. Behind each sentence is probably a volume of experience, the art, craft, and science of doing AI. We sit in a space between the tech that invents new techniques for AI and academicians who may do research. Think of that as one side of the equation. Think of the marketplace, which is, in our case, essentially the government and the social good marketplace is the second place. Between these two is a void, and the void manifests itself by not solving problems correctly, not focusing on the problem first and focusing on the solution, maybe focusing on profitability and benefits rather than the real benefit to the end user. So the design philosophy of our institute is to start with the marketplace. We were inaugurated by the PM, and we've been in business for the last 7 years. For us, the entire ecosystem of problem solving is super critical. What was stated earlier is super important. You should not be in this space if you're not willing to stay for 10 to 15 years. All systems, I've been 40 years in this space. All systems are work in progress. There's no perfect system that you will ever face. So you have to learn how to work in a changing ecosystem of technology where new innovations will come. You have to make design choices that are intelligent and appropriate so that you serve the benefits that you're looking for. You have to reach a cost point that is meaningful for usage. You have a product called Oral Reading Fluency, which assists children, to read a paragraph, and the AI tool will tell you if it's an error or not. The cost of inference is 5 paisa. There is no technology in this world that offers an AI solution at 5 paisa. 5 paisa means 1 million students ke liye, the evaluation is 50,000 rupees. We have rolled it across the state of Gujarat and now state of Rajasthan. Very, very happy. We plan to do this pan-India. All our solutions are like that. We have touched 10 crore people using 25 solutions with AI. all of them start with the beginning is super important. Is it an AI problem? Are you addressing bias upfront? Are you doing critical systems design thinking upfront? Do you understand the deployment environment at the time of design? Example, we did a project for Rajasthan where people would claim money because they were wanting to submit an X-ray in order to say that they have lung disease due to silicosis, which is a sand-based disease. If we had gone in without understanding the problem, we would have interpreted an X-ray using AI. But an X-ray costs 100 rupees. A photograph of an X-ray is free. So the problem is you have to interpret the photograph of the X-ray. Another example, we released a solution for cotton farmers, massive solution. It has given a huge impact because of a couple of pests that are there. It's been in solution for about 3-4 years. If we had assumed that, we'll just release it on a smartphone, you would have touched X number of farmers. If you model the problem by saying 1 in 6 or 10 people will have a smartphone, but you have to touch all the 7 farmers. Because of their proximity, because of the fact that they will meet at a chai shop, they will have feature phones, you have to solve the problem differently. So by solving one problem, you get a 7x benefit. All problems in AI are the problem definition, the tech, the design. It's all matter of detail. That's tech work. Leave it aside. You don't need to chase the next excitement in technology in order to solve problems. There's no problem in society that's not larger or more difficult than the technology that tries to solve it. Paying attention to the problem is our key goal. And so we've been able to release all this. We run one of the largest AI enablements in India, in the world, for eSanjeevani, which has 10 crore consultations per year. We provide them a provisional diagnostic using AI. We've got a lot of work to do with that. We are nowhere done. दूर तक काम खत्म नहीं हुआ है. 4 साल लगेगा हमको, 5 साल लगेगा to get it done. And we have a deployment network now, which has an opportunity to touch 84 crore Indians. That's my target. For me, instead of dollars, it's billions of people. I have to touch 80 to 100 billion people with AI solutions. That's the goal of the Institute. So it's always people first, problem first. AI is a dur subservient. It's nothing. It's just technology. I've seen so many technologies. One more. It'll come and go. No big deal. The problems are the focus points. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Shekhar. Very apt for this particular session. Jagadish, I think I have set you up very nicely now. You can let us know, through EkStep, one is the kinds of stuff that you're doing, but also the challenges that you're facing as you play with systems, with government, citizens.
Yeah, so just to introduce EkStep, I think we are about 11 years so far, and we were together, I think, before that for 7 years with Aadhaar, the same team. So, in some sense, this question was given to me beforehand, so I'm prepared, right? So, in some sense, broadly, we kind of addressing 2 areas in the last few years, let's say, right? One is, I think, as Manish was talking about, access to information, inclusive access to information itself is one phenomenal area. 1.5 billion people needs to get information in a very contextual manner, which is a continuous challenge. If you see last 2020, 2010 decade, it's all about making information accessible in a very interesting and improved technology-enabled way, which has improved a lot. In some sense, my journey before Aadhaar was at Intel, when we first conceptualized the railway reservation system. Irrespective of how much our challenges there are, I used to think that maybe one day we wouldn't have to stand in a queue to get ticket, but that was far-fetched at that time to think that it would ever come. Only foreigners would book from wherever they are, but we would never be able to do it. That was a criticism in a big way. Today, if you see, I don't know if anybody would go to railway station to book a ticket ever, right? Similarly, today, I think one initiative that we think about inclusion at scale, everybody. Now, therefore, with AI for Bharat, models that will address for language translation on all language operations. I think in the last 2-3 years, a phenomenal moment has opened up for society in general, which is to say that we are at a time when we can actually make information available to people in their language for their problem in a way that can be managed in a government context. Private context, I think there are many opportunities, but in government context, it's possible. It's just a sitting duck. We got the low-hanging fruit. It is absolutely essential. We do it for every major economic opportunity if it involves people, whether it is farmers, citizens, and so on. So much of the work has been to apply that to citizens. The second area is problem solving. Now, one is accessibility, accessing government information or otherwise any information at scale. Other is problem solving. I think technology provides significant opportunities to solve problems. We are engaged in FLN, like what Wadhwani sir was talking about. Wadhwani Foundation also is doing. With about 19,000 schools in about 6 states, it's problem solving for FLN, where children can get personalized tutoring at FLN only for those FLN needs. Many children can actually learn to read and do basic math, they can exist in the world. And similarly for farmers, again, we've been working very closely with Wadhwani AI, with PM Kisani Mitra, and now Vistar and so on and so forth, which actually recently got launched by Maharashtra. I'm just saying, as Shekhar was saying, it is all beginning. But already we see Kisani Mitra being a very small system that does just one scheme information for 12 crore farmers. Out of the 2 crore farmers don't get their money in time. Out of that 1 crore farmers have benefited from this. It is a very simple system. But that simple thing done at scale, it's about 3-year journey actually, a 2.5-year journey. Whatever, all things. Small language models, I heard somebody talk about small language models over here. Okay. So it's been that. But now with Vistar, with generative AI, I see significant potential. People can actually do significantly better, and we've been at that journey. So from a challenge perspective, especially I talk about only government and large-scale citizen services, procurement is a big challenge with AI, very big challenge. Why? It's like a little bit of a hazy space, and things are changing every day. I think we should do well to simplify this, to not scare it with lots and lots of dangers. Like, for example, if you see this room has significant electricity flowing, it's very dangerous if you touch it, right? But we are surviving with it, right? And so make it inclusive and make it procurable easily. Therefore, I see that in next 10 years, we will solve for it. No big deal. Why? Because website was like this only in 2000. Website was like this, e-commerce was like this. So you see, it has been solved for. It's a big opportunity. As Shekhar was saying, it has to be done. But it's just a matter of how we apply it so that significant problems can be past us in this decade.
So, being conscious of the fact that we are between the group and lunch, I'll go the reverse now. I think if I can ask you, sir, that can you, this is a question that we've been posing to everyone, right? The idea is co-creation. What can we do here? Right? What can we do here now to make sure that the people in the audience, people who are either startups or even let's say industry, how should they engage with you or because you're the person who's helping them with the problem statement. How do we engage with you so that we can get to that future that we
So I think I'll just vibe with both what Manish is saying and what Shekhar was saying. Some of us are invested in this for our lifetime because the problem also needs that kind of an attention. And it's like growing coconuts, okay? From the time you plant it to from the first fruit is like a 6-7 years if you're looking at old type varieties. Now, you cannot fast track it, all right? So similarly, solutions are also of that scale. So one is directly if you are, but also we want both markets to participate in the solutions, like in ONDC, for example, it's like a protocol-driven technology system in those opportunities. And if you are not for profit, then we can actually work together to make your ways available to larger set of people. And so to that extent, in most of the areas, so today we are also working on opportunity matching to job aspirants with AI, right? So in many of these areas, if you can approach us if you have a care, if you have a skill, or if you have a solution, even an idea, like one thing, because much of the time we are all in our silos doing whatever we do, and collaboration is the way to solve for it, right? PM Kisan, Emitra, I think 3 organizations sit together to solve for it on a daily basis. And that's how it works. So there is nothing like what you do, what I do. It's a collaborative effort, and that's a way to solve for it. So I think problem is big enough, each one of the problems, and there's so much more to tackle. I kind of say that therefore collaboration is the way to go. Take what I have, take my care, and let's do something together big.
Shekhar, I think
Yeah.
same
So,
question.
so there's I will make a aphorism or a statement. The opportunity for using AI far exceeds the expertise that is available to attend to it. If we accept that statement, then there is a need for an extraordinary amount of people to come together to solve it. However, it's extremely important, like Jagadish says, it's super important that there needs to be alignment, ideological alignment. There should be a need to serve, a need to care for people, a need to learn and communicate, because this is the goal of the ethos of an organizational approach, not one. The entire ecosystem approach has to be like that. And this includes the government, it includes players who are not for profit. So if you want to participate in this space, you should have a much longer term view of how you will be able to make money in this for the profit organizations. For others, you need to have the perseverance and the tenacity to withstand failures, to be patient, and to have the internal strength to ride the problem until you can see the very end.
Thank you. Dr. Ramanand,
what I think, जैसा मैंने अपने फ्यूचर ऑफ सोसाइटी प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में बताया, जैसा what I explained, in our future of society initiative, we are trying to collaborate with everyone who are interested in the field of AI and other emerging technology, and we are, focusing on maybe next 10 to 15 years to understand the impact of these technologies. But I have only one thing which I think बहुत लोगों को दिमाग में होगा. We are more focusing on the people who are not, the technology savvy. Whatever happening in that tech field, usually people say it's a subject of technocrats or tech people who understand technology. AI, what AI have done to this academia and other places. Even if you don't know technology, even if you don't have that kind of mastery, you can do a lot of things. Because AI has created a lot of leverage to non-tech people who have studied humanities and social science. They can also contribute. So what I will suggest people from across the subjects, domain, industry, they should participate and they should understand it is not like that कि आपको नहीं आता कि आप नहीं कर सकते. It is kind of experience based thing. आपका kind जितने भी type experience which you have वो सारे important है इस field के लिए. So वो जो hesitation usually हमारे पास भी है, because of that we have lost lot of chances और बहुत सारे जो experience लोग हैं बहुत सारे हमारे वो लोग contribute नहीं कर पाए. This is the thing. और ये time है जिसमें हम सब लोग contribute कर सकते हैं. So मुझे लगता है सबको contribute.
Yeah. So I'll just share our experience. Of course, the eGov right now has an open source software for digital. It also runs the National Urban Digital Mission, which is deployed around 2,000 cities in India. One of the lot of market partners, including small companies, are actually building and implementing this with the government. So I think there are models that exist where markets, big companies to small companies, can work, including with partners like us. So, like I was saying, our model has been we take a problem area, we solve that problem area for the government because that's what they are interested in. And once we solve it, we make this available as open source platforms, and then a lot of the market players, etc., take this and actually implement this. So there are these opportunities that are available. We are trying to replicate similarly the models with AI. I'm also part of the AI series for sustainable cities. Similar models we are trying to look for. So if you are working in those areas, please connect. Happy to engage with you and see how we can solve the problem that's here.
Thank you, Manish. I think I'm going to put a different question. Is that, as Aapti Institute, I can see the kinds of issues you're working on. How would you like to engage with the ecosystem when it comes to some of the aspects of AI that you are looking at?
Okay, that's a nice question. I have notes for the previous one as well. I think there are a few points that we would like to continue conversations on with industry, with government, with whoever else is interested. The first is around the value system in which technology is built for citizen services or for the citizen, or with the citizen in mind. Much of it is typically oriented towards the state, much of it is typically within a framework of public service delivery, rights and obligations come into play, rules and services come into play. So how do you do it? Instead of seeing this as a challenge, to work with it as a boundary condition to bring better things, and more impactful tech. So that's the first. And we have collaborated with several folks on this kind of thing. The second is, I think, I've heard it from all the panelists and it's been there in the discussions today, is the idea of making with rather than making for. This co-creative process takes a lot of work, and if I may say so, pardon my French, is very, very damn irritating. Like, it's really, really frustrating because it's like a monkey scaling a greased pole, so you keep going forward and then going back. What we have done over the years is build up knowledge that can either reduce the amount of time that it takes to get to a better stage of knowledge, or be thought really deeply about the process, the ways in which it can be truly representative, truly just, and actually works towards a better outcome. So that's another conversation I would love to have. I think the third part, which is perhaps more personal than any other, is that very often statements are built around the technology we have possible, and as an former academic, you tend to answer the questions your methods allow you to answer. But we must be very, very careful of that in the case of citizen services. So, for example, my view on the traffic problem, since everybody's had their two bits, is that it's not a tech one at all. We probably need better buses and a BRT system. We need to do some research around that. And maybe that's the solution. So, thinking more carefully and around how we define the problems and whether they are tech ones at all is a conversation I'd love to have. So, yeah, those would be my 3 things.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you all the panelists. I think the earlier comment I used to always have is collaboration is damn hard, very hard. And now we have obviously got a new term called co-creation that we have to deal with. So I think it is something that we'll have to put our efforts into. And thank you so much for being part of this conversation. And thank you, everyone. Look forward to speaking to you outside.